He can identify as a unicorn, a dolphin, or whatever. Why does he need a new locker room exactly? How is that relevant? They say, oh, well, because of his mental health. Answer. Okay, we don't all starve ourselves at lunch because someone is trying to lose weight.
Biological men do not belong in women's toilets, and Charlie Kirk explains just that. Hey guys, this is Isabella Moody from Resist the Mainstream. Make sure you give today's video a like, leave a comment down below, subscribe to our channel, and we will get straight into the video.
I'm a senior in high school, and right now my Board of Education is seriously considering the movement to allow trans people, or whatever gender they identify with, to use that gender-specific bathroom in my school. So I'm just trying to figure out what point do we need to have it stop, or what points can you give me to go to the Board of Education and actually like rebound against what they're trying to say.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's God bless you. Look, I want to be very clear because I don't want to come across as cruel, but we do not reorganize society based on people's mental conditions, nor should we, okay? We should give people care, and care is not affirmation. Care is someone who's willing to tell the truth and challenge them back into what we know to be a flourishing, productive, and happy life. So if there is somebody that is a boy that thinks that he is a girl, and they want to say they want to have locker room access or whatever, well, then I would point to Loudoun County, Virginia, where a boy who thought he was a girl went into the locker room and twice raped a young lady. Twice. That's one example of several that happen across the country. But here's the one thing, and just to respond to the previous question in a separate way, he says, well, what difference does it make for you? And this is this is the traps conservatives fall in all the time, which is as if this entire movement stops just as acceptance. That's nonsense. So first they ask you to tolerate it, then they ask you to accept it, then they ask you to participate, and then they ask you to celebrate it. No, celebrate, then participation. And I'll give you an example. In Oregon, no, it was Vermont. It was Vermont, I'm sorry. In Vermont, there was a women's sports team, I think it was volleyball or basketball, where a man who thought he was a woman got locker room access. He started to harass the young ladies on the sports team, and by doing so, the young ladies then started to complain, saying, I'm uncomfortable with this man. Can you do something about it? The administration said the young ladies were being transphobic, even though he was dressing nakedly in a locker room next to other young ladies. They are now in probation and investigation for being transphobic because they don't accept the naked young man in the locker room because they're not tolerant enough to suck it up, even though a young man harasses them because they don't like being yelled at when they're getting changed in our locker room.
Man, there's just so much to already say about this, and it's actually crazy that we're living in a society that tolerates this and thinks that you're a bigot if you don't want a man in a female locker room. If I'm in a locker room, I don't want to have to worry about a man being in there if I'm changing or going to the bathroom. Like, I don't want a guy in there. I especially don't want a guy in there who's dressed as a girl. That's like creepiest guy out of them all. And this actually happened with my little sister who's attending a university right now, and she's in a sorority, and a transgender woman, so a man, literally tried to rush and like be a part of the sorority and live in the house. This individual did not make the cut, luckily, but they had to the sorority had to meet, and they were concerned about looking transphobic to people and getting canceled and all of these things. So it's crazy that we even have to debate this. There's different gendered bathrooms and locker rooms for a reason. And I'm sorry, but keeping the safety of women, and I'm sorry, but I think we should be prioritizing women's safety over not offending a transgender individual. Yeah, sorry, call me transphobic if you want, but that's just the truth.
So let me just kind of put aside any of the name calling as you can see, I don't care, and you shouldn't either. There is nothing they could call me, and I hope you, that will make me stop from having young men go into locker rooms and be predators towards our young girls. There's nothing you could possibly do to me. Nothing. And this is the great lie in this kind of we have to have everyone hear their own truth and all this nonsense, is that we end up, those of us that believe in normal, basic Western values, having to change all of our customs, all of our language, all of our behavior for a hyper minority. And it happens because they prey on our great intentions. Because deep down, I think a lot of us want what's best. We love people, right? But stop being so naive. That's not what's happening anymore. It's not about loving people and accepting them. It's about changing your behavior so that they can exert control over you. That you have to have the right banner, or you have to have the right flag in your yard, or the right pronoun. Like, I'm not going to put up with it anymore. So all of that to say, advice for you, just come after it from a perspective of protecting those that can't protect themselves. There are multiple documented cases of men that go into female locker rooms. And the best answer is this. I've never heard a response to this. If a man thinks he's a woman, why can't he continue to change in the men's locker room? He can identify as a unicorn, a dolphin, or whatever. Why does he need a new locker room exactly? How is that relevant? They say, oh, well, because of his mental health. Answer. Okay, we don't all starve ourselves at lunch because someone is trying to lose weight. We don't mass accommodate society because one person has a problem. It's insane. And we got to stop putting up with it because, and I'll say this, tolerance is no longer a virtue in America. I refuse to be tolerant of evil. And I ask you to join me in that.
Honestly, I thought Charlie Kirk did an amazing job explaining why men don't belong in women's locker rooms. I love that example he just gave, that it's like we don't starve ourselves just because there's someone that's trying to lose weight. We do not conform an entire group, an entire society over the needs of one individual. It makes no sense. And yeah, that's a great question, Charlie. Why is it so imperative that these transgenders go into locker rooms? Seriously, I don't understand. Like, you need to go into the girls' locker room or else you can't function. Like, if you can't function over that, then maybe you shouldn't be going to the gym, and like maybe you shouldn't be around other people because you seem incredibly emotionally unstable and probably not the best person to be around young girls or girls in general. Okay? I'm a woman. I'm pretty defenseless. Like, women need guns or something, or a man to protect them. Like, there's not much I could do if a man tried to attack me. So, yeah, I would like my own private space away from men, away from trans women. And call me what you want, but that's just how I feel. Let me know in the comments below if you guys agree with me. But that's all we have time for today, guys. I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.